Okay, I'm here with Kate Waterfall-Hill. How are you, Kate?
I'm very well indeed, thank you.
Good, and that's probably because you focus on wellbeing.
Indeed, but it also because I finished my speech.
Which helps, right? So tell me why we should care in the UK about wellbeing in the corporate in the corporate workplace.
2 reasons. One, because it's great for business.
Really?
Got happy employees, they work harder, they're more efficient, they're more productive. And you're going to make more money, which is reason why most people are in business. And reach your targets if you're not for profit type organisation, patient outcomes, that sort of thing are good too. But secondly, and what's probably close to my heart, is that it feels good. It's the right thing to do. You make happy people, then they are. If you're a good leader, which is where I focus. If you're a good leader, you feel good about yourself because you get to the end of the working week and go, I did a really good job this week. I had a really good conversation with so-and-so who was on the edge, and I pulled them back, and they're focused now, they know where they're going, and that was thanks to my leadership. And so you go home happy, that person goes home happy, their friends and family are happy. It's a worldwide epidemic of happiness if you get it right.
That's a very jolly view, and I love it. I asked Ryan earlier, who was on before you, about why the UK was so depressed all the time, and he blamed the sun.
I was going to blame the weather,
yeah.
To say. Maybe the traffic, maybe the government. But, yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes the whole sort of saying about the glass half empty is a little bit true. It's about what you decide for yourself. If you can be an intentional leader, but also an intentional person who decides, this is what I want out of my life, this is what I want to do with my career or what I want to do as a leader, then you can make it happen. But if you decide you're going to be, I know some people are clinically depressed, don't get me wrong, awful. Obviously they need support and therapeutic help, but the rest of us who are just a bit, you can choose, and it's about, just setting your intentions on something positive and deciding that's what you're going to do. And what's the best that can happen rather than what's the worst that could happen, and living your life like that.
I think that's a really positive way to look at it. Obviously, you're talking about leaders. We've had a couple of people say it's incumbent upon employers as a thing, or the government. We've had some other people. We were talking to Frank Bruno yesterday. He thinks it's an individual thing, that people should take their own responsibility. Is there a right or wrong to that? Is there a way that we can make bigger progress faster by focusing on one of those areas or not?
I don't know. I suppose my innate sort of belief is that we can take responsibility for how we show up. So I was saying in my speech earlier that some people say to me, well, what's the difference between a leader and a manager? What do you mean? Why are you a leadership coach? What does that mean? And I actually sort of slightly turn that on its head and say I think everyone's a leader, because you're all hopefully in charge of your own life, unless you're being completely dominated by a narcissist, in which case, again, you need to get some help. But generally speaking, you're in control of how you interact with other people, whether that be down the shop, on the phone to your utilities company, or whatever it is, whether it's in the workplace with team members, peers or stakeholders, customers, suppliers, everything. We have a responsibility, I suppose, to try to influence positive outcomes. You have an idea, you think that might work. How do you go about influencing that positive change? And that's what leadership is to me. It's not necessarily being the CEO or being told you're a manager or being given a member of staff to manage. Being a leader is just how you show up and how you influence positive change with everyone you come into contact with. And to me, that's really exciting. I love the intellectual challenge of thinking, this could be tricky, or this is an interesting situation, or this is an idea I'd like to push through. I'm sensing some resistance. I'm going to see what intellectual gymnastics I can go through to actually make that happen. And so it's about being persuasive, being influential, listening, asking good questions, and then working out how to make that move and to make the positive thing happen.
That's really interesting. It's often been said that the first and biggest sale you'll make is to yourself. Do you think that's the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're going to wake up in the morning and think, I've got this. Because if you don't think you've got it, nobody else is going to tell you.
Excellent. Thank you for joining me.